Good evening. Welcome to The Next Word. I'm your host, Chris Warnke, and tonight we have a special guest from the Republic of Cyprus. They call him from philosopher to diplomat, Ambassador Leonidas Pantelides, who has come back for a second term as ambassador to the United States from Cyprus. So, Ambassador, so great to have you.
Thank you. It's great to be here,
really,
Christine.
I'm so happy you're here.
So am I. Thank
You're
you.
one of my favorite ambassadors, but don't tell any others. So you were, we've talked about this before, but of course you were a philosopher first. You're an author. And you really didn't want to be involved in the foreign service, correct? Or you had to be pushed into it, sort of, by a friend. By
pushed
a friend.
Or pulled?
Pulled. By a friend who made you apply twice.
Yes, a relative actually, a cousin.
A relative.
Yes.
So I like the story. So she came to your house for a cup of coffee?
Yes. She was working. All hirings for the Cyprus government are done centrally. This is in the constitution. There is a central board that hires people for the government. And she worked there. She passed away now a couple of years ago. She worked there, so she saw all the vacancies. And when she saw this vacancy, she took an application form and she came to my house in the evening and she said, you know, Leonidas, this vacancy is just right for you.
Wow.
She left the application form there. We had a coffee, we had a chat for a while, and then she went away. And I didn't fill in the application form. I didn't file for the job. But something strange happened. They had the examinations, you know, and they decided not to hire anybody and to repeat the process.
Oh, my God.
So she came back a second time. Right. And this time she said, well, I'm not going to have a coffee and go away and leave you to fill out the form. You do it right in front of me, and I will take the form and submit it for you, which is what she did.
That's great.
So
the rest is history.
I always thought that I would be an academic. I always assumed that I would be an academic. That's why I was not so, you know, interested looking around for other. I didn't think of this as something that would be close to or that I would be interested in doing. I always thought I would be an academic, and until that time I was teaching. When this happened, I was teaching in a college, yes.
In Cyprus?
In Cyprus, yes.
Because you got your PhD, your doctorate,
yes,
in England.
Yes.
And then you wrote the book.
No, the book I wrote late.
Oh, you wrote later?
Yes.
Which I'm fascinated
No, I went back to Cyprus, and we had no big university at that time. It was before we had the state university.
Right.
We had what here would be corresponding to community colleges. Right. They were starting at that time. And I had a job with one of these colleges. And then I ended up being in the foreign ministry. I thought that it would be for a short while, it would be for a certain time, and then I would go back to teaching, but it never happened. But maybe now when I retire, I will.
Oh, that's right. You have another career.
Yes.
But you were here in 1989. That's when I first met you.
Yes.
At the embassy.
Yes.
Yes. So the change, have you seen a big change? Of course,
there is a change. It's nearly 30 years. 30 years. Yes. Not in you, not in Christine.
Oh, thank you so much. You're good. That's why you're a diplomat. But in the change in Washington, I mean, it's a huge change.
You know, I mean, physically the city has changed, but also I would say politically, as far as we are concerned, you know, we are very interested in our neighborhood, what happens in our neighborhood, which is a very troubled neighborhood, the Middle East.
Right.
And I would say that when I was here before, you had to do a lot of preliminary introductions to people. There was not that much interest in the region, and there was very little knowledge of the Eastern Mediterranean and of Cyprus in particular. But this was before the Gulf Wars, remember? It was before.
Right, that's right.
And all the things that have happened since and all the things that are happening today have focused a lot of interest.
Right. Oh,
so
absolutely.
there's a lot more knowledge and a lot more interest in issues that we are interested in and
Right.
that we work with now. So I don't have to do the preliminaries now. I don't have to do the
Right.
introductions. I can get into a discussion with people when I meet people, policy people.
Right.
And there are a lot more people around town that know
Are knowledgeable,
about our
right.
region.
And everything that's happened, even the last 6 months.
Yes, even the last 6 months.
Yes.
I mean, there is Egypt, which
Right.
is of interest to people. Lebanon, a little bit less so for the public,
Right.
but it's quite significant for the administration. Jordan, Israel, of course, Turkey now.
Right.
And there is something which is not generally known. It seems that the Eastern Mediterranean will become a very significant provider of energy, of natural gas.
We talked about that, right.
You know that the Europeans were getting a lot of their natural gas from the Northern Sea, which is now beginning to become depleted. So they are looking for alternative sources. And it seems that the Eastern Mediterranean is emerging as a... We didn't know that there was
So
energy
much?
there.
Really?
And especially so much. It's still not completely clear because we are at the beginning.
Right.
But Israel made important discoveries, Egypt made important discoveries, and of course further west, Algeria and so on. Libya has hydrocarbons. But we never thought that we had it so further east. But it seems to be there. It could be as significant as the Gulf eventually.
Really? Wow, that's huge.
We have to wait and see because, like I said, we are still at the beginning. So the map is changing. The regional map is changing,
Wow.
and there's a lot more
Resources.
focus, a lot more interest in Washington now on our part of the world.
That's fascinating. In terms of Israel, I mean, I know there's a close relationship that Cyprus has
Yes.
forged with Israel
Yes.
on many levels,
Yes.
whether it's scientific,
Yes.
transfer, collaboration, I mean, many levels.
Yes.
Especially in the water technology,
Yes.
water preservation,
Yes.
conservation, because Cyprus does have an issue with water.
Yeah, well, we have
supply.
scarcity. We have
Yeah,
to deal
yes,
with
yeah.
drought all the time.
Is it because also is the water levels way below the rocks? I mean, is there water? I understand
We
there's
have
water.
to be careful with underground water so that we
Yes.
don't draw too much out
Right.
of the
Right.
ground, because then it lowers and lowers, and then salt water, if it
Right.
goes below
Right.
sea level, then
The
salt
saltwater
water
will seep in.
begins to seep in.
Right.
We have to manage a scarce resource, but an extremely significant resource.
So, in your opinion, what are the more significant collaborations between, let's say, Cyprus and Israel that you have?
But let me put it in context.
Okay.
We try to have good relations with all our neighbors.
right,
We
right.
consider that we have a very special profile
You do.
in that we are a neutral country in the region. We are a small country. We don't have a foreign policy agenda beyond our own shore. We don't interfere in other. We're too small.
Right. Right.
And we consider that we can play a very helpful role as a bridge between our neighbors. Our neighbors don't get along with each other all that
Right,
well. So
right.
it's helpful if you have someone there where they can offer a common space to meet.
Very helpful.
Yes,
Very helpful.
it's very helpful. And we are trying to play this role more and more. So our relationship with Israel has to be in the context of our relationship with other countries in the region. We have a just as good relationship with Egypt. We were extremely helpful to the Lebanese throughout their troubles. Without Cyprus, things would have been more difficult for them.
Really?
You know, like in 2006, for example, the evacuation. There was 90,000 foreign nationals
Really?
evacuated from Lebanon, emergency evacuation via Cyprus. They flew to Cyprus.
Really?
It's only 20 minutes, half an hour flight. And throughout their troubles in the 80s and the 90s, we were supporting them. We were helpful to them. A lot of their business, a lot of their people emigrated to Cyprus for the duration of their travels. And then they went back home. So we try to be helpful to all our neighbors. And we believe that this is actually an asset also for our Israeli friends, because they don't have direct access with some of their neighbors, but we do. We are a channel. We can play this role of being a channel for different countries in the region to be able to speak with each other. I mean, I will give you just example from the energy field. There seem to be common deposits in the sea on the border between Israel and Lebanon. There seem to be gas there, which they share. And God gave it to them.
To share?
Yes, but they don't talk to each other.
They don't, right.
So they have to find a way through intermediaries, through third parties, to be able to do at least the minimum legal things they have to do in order to be able to proceed. So, the region is, needs a little bit of pacifying.
Right.
I'm not sure how much we can do, but we will do the best we can do.
Well, you also have a history of your highly educated community, the Greek Cypriot.
Yes.
Side, you're highly educated.
All Cypriots actually are very similar. Yes.
Yes, very
similar in there. It's a function of family values,
Right.
Families invest in their children's education. It's the most important thing. They may mortgage their house to pay for education. I mean, so it's. I think it's a function of the kind of values that families have there.
And the universities now?
There are a lot of universities now. There are about six. Six universities, sort of mushroomed all of a sudden there in the 90s.
Really? That's fascinating.
Yes, because we are also serving the region in that way. We are an export-oriented economy.
Right.
And we are a services economy. So people come there for medical care, they come there for education, they come there for all kinds of services.
Right.
And of course they come as tourists.
Yes, we have
an open door policy to not only to our neighbors, to
everybody.
We get about 4 visitors a year per resident. So we get the population of Cyprus times 4 visiting every year.
And throughout the year, right? Because the weather.
The year, because the weather is.
Yeah, the weather's so fantastic.
Yes, it's good throughout the year.
Yes, it's a jewel. It's a little jewel that people need to know more about, because it's a lovely country. I've been several times and hope to get back. But we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back and talk about some of the other manufacturing and what else exciting progress that Cyprus has been making. Okay.
Sure.
We're taking a short break, and we'll be right back.
The odds of becoming a successful NASCAR driver, 1 in 125 billion. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism, 1 in 68. I'm Jamie McMurray. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
Welcome back. You're watching The Next Word. I'm your host, and tonight we're having a conversation with the ambassador from Cyprus, Ambassador Leonidas Pantelides. And we have to all come to Cyprus.
You should.
I know. I love it.
We get more than 3 million visitors per year.
Amazing. For the country.
For a population of less than 1 million.
For a population less, that's amazing.
The ratio of visitor to resident is one of the highest in the world.
And beautiful beaches. You have the beautiful beaches and the hotels that are really outstanding. I mean, you have some.
But I think, people come because they also feel welcome. It's not just the natural beauty. They feel comfortable there because it's so easy to interact with the Cypriots. It's so easy to see what life is like there. It's a very open society. They don't just go to the hotels. It's not just a sun and sand vacation people come for. There are a lot of antiquities because of the very long history. There are a lot of medieval churches. There are a lot of Roman ruins, a lot of Crusader ruins, a lot of ancient Greek ruins, even Paleolithic. We have a history that we have ruins from dating back 10,000 years.
Wow, really?
10,000
I've
years.
never
Yes,
seen these.
we have you know, inhabited life and organized life since about 8,000 BC.
And you have incredible food. The food I love. Because it's a mixture. I always
Yes,
say it's like a
yes,
mixture. It has the
yes.
Middle Eastern.
It has some Middle Eastern, it has some Italian and
Yes.
French.
And Greek.
Because the Italians were there 200 years on the island, the French were there 300 years on the island. And of course, you know, there's a strong Greek component as well.
No,
But it's,
the food is fantastic. I mean, I've always said I was so impressed with the food and just the I think about that a lot. Great. But no, so in terms of though, now that you're here and you're very good at you're great at what you do, what are the things you least though like about your role? Because you are good at a lot of things. I mean, you're good at everything. But there's some things I know it's difficult because your day doesn't end at 5 o'clock. You know, it goes on till 7 or 8 or 9. You have a lot of people pulling you from all over the country.
I think people have this in a lot of professions. You have to balance the professional requirements, which can grow and grow and grow endlessly, with your private life, with your private concerns. But you have to make sure that you have the right balance. You don't get too absorbed in the job. And this job tends to grow, like I said, because there are a lot of social obligations. You get a lot of invitations by people to a lot of things. So you have to be selective. You have to prioritize and do the things that are important.
And you get to see the country, though, because it's not just Washington. I mean, you're ambassador to, of course, the United States.
Yes, the whole of the United States.
The whole United States.
Yes.
Also,
yes.
Also the Caribbean?
Yes, some of the Caribbean, yes. Because we are a small country, and we don't have embassies in all 180 countries, so we all have a few extras.
A few extras. What about Canada?
No, we used to have Canada. My predecessor had Canada, but now we have an embassy in Canada.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Because there are a lot of Canadians. I mean,
since last year.
Why is that? I mean, just because a lot of Greek Cypriots have
Yes, we have people there. Yes. I mean, now the service is growing slowly. So, I mean, when I went to Sweden, for example, I had Denmark for the first 2 years, but then I talked the foreign ministry I was servicing to opening an embassy in Denmark, so I gave up Denmark, you know, and so on. We grow. We grow.
Now, you just the commemoration of the invasion of
20th of July
was 20th July last week.
Yes,
it's been since 1974, 43 years. That's incredible. Yes. I mean, you just had the commemoration. I know you're going down to Florida to also speak to groups.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. I mean, do you see any? I know you knew I was going to ask you this, but any resolution coming forward soon, or?
Well, I mean, we are committed to reunifying the country. We don't believe that there is any other option. We have to reunify the country. It's not the easiest thing in the world. We have been trying to do it through negotiation. We made a conscious decision immediately after the Turkish invasion of 1974 not to pursue a military solution, not to try to force a return to, you know, the status quo, the earlier status quo ante. We made a conscious decision, and there is consensus in our society on this, that we would deal with this, we will solve this through negotiation. And we have been engaged in these negotiations more or less since that time, soon after 1974. We have made progress, but we are not there yet. There are 3 basic areas that we have to address, all of which have difficulties. The one is power sharing. We need a new power sharing architecture. And the second is we need to build a secure environment what do we do with the troops, and so on. We need to build a secure environment for the new architecture to function, and make sure that it does not interfere with the security environment, does not interfere with the functioning of the state. And then we need to address all the wrongs and all the issues that were created with the invasion, like people becoming displaced, losing their property, losing loved ones. So there's a whole series of issues that are linked to the past, and in some sense those may be the easiest to deal. But they are there, and we have to deal. We have to make sure that that justice is restored to the greatest possible degree, and that people feel that that things were resolved, not just accommodated.
When I was there 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I remember I visited one of the neurological centers, which I was very impressed with. And I thought there was a cooperation between the Turkish and the Cypriot Greek community, correct? And since that time, I'm sure it's flourished, and it's,
Well, we have on the island a very special medical
focus.
No. We have a certain disease called thalassemia, which only Cypriots have.
I thought, from the blood of this, from the word thalassemia.
It's a blood. Not everybody has it, but it passes from parent to child, and most of us, the majority of Cypriots, have traces of it in their blood. If both parents have enough of this trace, then the child may be born anemic. So we have developed our own science to deal with this, and this is the origins of this neurological genetic center. That, Yes, so that we could deal. Now we are helping other neighbors with issues, with special diseases that are local, and they are not so well known and not so well studied by what I may call international medical institutions, because they are local. They are particular to particular populations. So they have to be dealt with locally by local people.
Fascinating. I had not realized that.
Yes. So it started basically as a response. What do we do about this special medical situation that we have? But it has grown roots. It is bicommunal because it's a problem for the whole island, for the whole population.
Oh, that's
but now we are also helping neighbors, and they have made discoveries. Our scientists have made some discoveries in certain things, because they're doing very good work.
And you're cooperating with NIH? Some of your scientists are cooperating?
They cooperate with a lot of different institutions, yes.
Because the term, Cooley's anemia, is that?
Thalassemia.
The Cooley's, are you familiar?
Yes,
Cooley's anemia, is it similar?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure,
but no, it's fascinating. I didn't know that.
Yes.
That the Greek Cypriot and the Turkish Cypriot, the community as a whole, was impacted so heavily by this.
Yes. It can be a serious problem, but we have more or less eliminated it, because we do screening, and we advise people before they wed if there is a risk, if there is an increased risk.
Does it lead into other diseases like kidney failure?
Yes.
Because I thought you also had a focus on kidney.
Yes.
Kidney disease was also one.
It's quite serious. If it passes from... but usually a mother that has this cannot hold the pregnancy.
Really?
So, but sometimes the pregnancy comes to maturation and they have a sick child then. But I had some colleagues, both parents, both had this strong trace, and I think she was pregnant 6 times or so and lost the baby. But in the end, they had a baby.
It's fascinating.
So it needs to be managed.
Right. I had no
but
idea.
it has more or less disappeared because of the screening
research and
we
the screening.
do, the research, and then, you know, the way that the disease has been managed.
Because I thought there was a focus on kidney disease, and
They have to do blood transfusions.
Do
they have all kinds
yes,
of
that's
problems.
what I understand. So there's a kidney center, right? Or is
There is a kidney transplant
center.
Yes,
Kidney transplant
that is
center.
separate. That is
That's
something
separate.
different. Yes.
But you've made inroads. I mean, I thought there were quite a lot of inroads
Yes.
that have been made into
Yes.
this area.
Yes.
It's fascinating. You don't realize, but I guess it makes sense. Thalassemia.
Yes.
From the sea.
Yes.
Which is all the surrounding areas.
Yes.
That's,
I don't know where we got it from, but it's very unique to the island. It's very unique to the
and
island.
other issues. I mean, as an aging population from the back since the invasion, of course, you now have a more aging population of the people that stayed. That are it's changed so much.
I would not say we have a problem with our young generation. Some of them stay abroad, but most of them end up coming back.
But what's the proportion? I mean, with the youth, do you have a?
You mean
in terms
of young
youth?
people who return?
Yeah, the return. Yeah, there's.
At least half of our young people get their higher education abroad. So a certain percentage stays abroad, but I'm not sure exactly what the.
But also people come
even
to
with the 6 universities that we have now, still about 50% of our students who go to university abroad. A lot of them come here. They go as far as New Zealand. They go everywhere. So this is why in Cyprus it's so easy to meet people that speak foreign languages.
Right.
A lot of people speak in French. All kinds of languages, because a lot of them have gone to universities. You always meet someone who studied in Hungary or in Russia or in Sweden and so on. So there's always people that speak languages there.
I thought there was an American university, or had a university that had a campus in Cyprus.
There could be. I'm not counting it in these 6.
Okay. You're not counting the 6.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, there could be something that has an affiliation. Yes.
So it's a place. I mean, I've always been fascinated with your country, and wonderful people, and highly educated, and just forward thinking, and it's.
Yes, we don't manufacture many things.
No, I know.
We don't grow a lot of food because we are short on water.
Right.
But we are basically services.
Service oriented.
Yes.
And light manufacturing.
Very little.
Very little
manufacturing.
And then tourism, of course.
And tourism. Tourism is one of the services, but it's not the only one.
Right.
We are very good in shipping. We are
You're a powerhouse in shipping, I know.
Yes.
We don't wish we had time to talk about that.
Yes.
No, the shipping's amazing. You're a powerhouse in the shipping. But you made an effort and a focus. 20 years ago, or
yes,
to really.
Yes. Right. We have a very good tax, a very good tax system.
Right.
And we try to create a business-friendly environment so that international companies set up in Cyprus.
Right. It's a very creative society, and I wish we could talk more. But I have to have you back.
If you're small, you have to be clever.
You have to be clever, right? And we know that you have that. Thank you.
You have to be imaginative and creative if you're small, and you cannot force your way with
but that's okay.
sheer muscle power. You have to use
Think
your
outside
brain
the
more.
box. Right, use brain power. Thank you, Your
Thank you,
Excellency.
Christine.
This is great. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're watching The Next Word. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Good night.